So you're all probably asking, where have you been? Well, let's talk about that.
456 Studios.
So, where have I been? I've been doing a lot of things. I know when I talked about this channel on my kind of introduction video to the channel, I talked about all the things that I want to bring to um, this, right? And really talking about my journey and maybe making some tutorials and sharing things with you guys as I kind of progress through this journey of being a narrator and a voice actor. And I'm still going to do that. And I haven't been doing nothing. So let me apologize up front. I haven't been putting out a lot of videos, but that's because I've been doing a lot of work kind of behind the scenes. And I think I'm ready to finally start picking up the pace with this channel and maybe putting out a video way more often than I was before. So I had to shift some things around. I had to learn some things and I had to discover for myself how to best prioritize and schedule the things that I needed to schedule to be able to free up time to do this, which is make videos for you and for me. Hey, it's cathartic and I get to review the things that I learned by passing them off to you and sharing knowledge as I obtain it. So, what have I been doing? Let's break it down. I've been doing a lot of coaching. I have an audio book coach, a narrator coach that as soon as I started this business, I realized, you know, I've been doing this as a hobby, but if I want to take this to the next level and be a professional and start booking professional gigs and getting paid for doing this, not only do I need to start a business, but I need to really up my game to that professional level, take myself from the amateur to the professional. And, practice does make perfect, but good practice really makes perfect. And how do you practice good? How do you get good practice perfect or as close as you can get to perfect practice? That's by talking to somebody, in this case, paying somebody that has done it, right? For 20 plus years, right? 20, 30, 40 years. And they know what they're doing because they're a big name in the industry and they've decided to teach what they know. And that's what I've been doing. So I'm 8 months in right now to my courses with my audiobook coach. And he is fantastic. I have learned so much, but the homework is that he hands out is some of it is not easy. It requires a lot of time and effort, as it should, right? I like this particular audiobook coach because he covers not only, yeah, the technique and the principles behind things, which is important, but he also covers the business side and the marketing side of that, which is just as important as those two. Because you can be the best voice actor, narrator in the world, but if nobody knows about you and you can't get that in front of clients and get clients, what good is it? Right. So that's important. So I've been working really heavily on that. And I'm almost, I'm, yeah, more than halfway through now of the program. I think it's 12 to 15 months, somewhere in there. Um, so I'll be updating you guys kind of on that as it goes on, and sharing some of the things that I've learned. Obviously, I'm not going to outline his entire curriculum to you guys because I pay him to provide that. That's a service that I wouldn't want to break. But I am planning on providing, maybe little principles that I've learned and maybe taking those concepts and expanding upon them and giving you basically my experience with them based off of how I interpret and use them. Right. I'm not only doing that. I'm also reaching out and doing workshops through different places. I recently took some workshops through Audiobook Empire, which is a publisher that I knew nothing about until I saw them kind of online and people talking about them. And I read through kind of their mission statement and discovered what they do. And I'm like, oh, this is an amazing place. And after going through these workshops, I noticed that they had this week long thing, 2 workshops a day for at least an hour apiece, and it was all in things that I really wanted to learn and absorb as a new, narrator. And the information in there was just amazing. And it was for all levels, which I thought was super interesting. They even had a workshop on when you reach 100 audiobooks, you're getting close to doing it. What do you do now? Because you'll see that there's a lot of courses for beginners. There's maybe even a lot of courses for when you're more advanced and expanding on those techniques getting out there and doing things at that point. But there isn't a lot of courses for when you're in the middle. And nobody really seems to talk about that, or at least that's my perception of it. And they had a workshop on that. And it was really interesting to listen to, especially as a beginner, because now I can kind of see and look forward into my career and see, oh, these are the things that are going to be constantly a struggle, right? Getting new clients and worrying about that as a freelancer is a freelancer's dilemma, right? How do you intake that client to pay your bills, right? And keep doing the work that you want to do, right? As a professional, how do you sustain that? And that's still a worry sometimes, even at that level of 100 audiobooks in, right? But the difference is they've honed and refined their strategies by the time they've reached that point. That, yeah, it's still a concern, but it's less of a concern than it is for like a beginner because they know things and they've tried things and they have their system, right? You can always learn. You can always get better at things, right? Especially in that regard. But they have a system in place by then. But it was really interesting to listen to that. Up on Audiobook Empire's website, they have actually, for at least a limited time, they have some of these workshops that you can go and pay to download. They have them on their shop page. Highly encourage you to do it if you have the extra cash to throw around. That's something I highly encourage you to do. Is pay for workshops like that. I also joined the Audio Publishers Association, and they have workshops through there that I'm planning on attending. So if I attend some of those, I'll let you guys know how that went. And I'm really looking forward to that. That's an organization that I'm very glad I joined because looking at all the things that they offer for narrators and voice actors, really good stuff, and I can't wait to kind of leverage and take advantage of those different things. I think it really could give you, a leg up. And what they stand for, I believe in too. So I encourage you to go out, look at their website, do your own research because there's tons of organizations you could join. But that's one of them I think I'm going to be very happy that I did. Um, I've also been doing cold read groups. There's two groups that I jump into. One's more of like an audio drama based thing where we do basically you're assigned a character and you're acting out in this voice work style of audio drama, and I've been doing that stuff since about 2015ish, and it's just nice to be able to be given a script, given a character, go read, and it kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's kind of improvish, and it's really fulfilling in that regard and getting that practice of reading and reacting and responding to the character and making choices on the fly, and it's more of like a safe environment to do so because everybody's in the same boat. We're all cold reading. Nobody's read this stuff before, and unless they've been in this group forever and they've happened to have read this script before, which some of the guys in there and gals in there have. But it's still a lot of fun. Everybody's super nice in that group. And then the other cold read group that I'm a part of is basically audiobook narrators that got together. And there's a coach. I don't know if I should name drop him yet, so I'm going to keep him out. But if you're interested in it, shoot me a message and I'll fill you in on the details and where you can go and find these things. But I haven't talked to them yet about me talking about it on my YouTube channel, so I'm a little uncomfortable just sharing the information. But it's basically a group of voice actors that were put together by a gentleman and a lady who one's a coach and one is not a coach, but a narrator himself. A very good one, I might add. And we basically just get together and we read plays. We just finished our first one that was called Mousetrap, which apparently is a really long running Broadway show, one of the longest running ones since about like 1950, and only really had a brief stop during COVID, as most things stopped that were theater, and it's still going to this day. Hadn't heard of it before. We did our cold read session through it, and it was fantastic. And it really kind of gave us a chance to. This cold read group is a little different from the other one in that we're all audiobook narrators and we're used to doing characters. Every character doesn't matter if it's male, female, doesn't matter. In an audiobook, as the narrator, you're every character. So in this cold read session specifically, at the beginning of the session, you're randomly assigned a character. 45 minutes through, we swap characters to another random character, and it's fantastic. So you get an opportunity to act as these characters and try to bring them to life and really be in the moment and focus on being those characters, and then take that into your audiobook sessions and remember that when you're doing character dialogue to give these characters life. It's really fulfilling. It's a fantastic group of people. I have an extreme advantage in that everybody else is so much more experienced than me. I get to learn so much from them. I'm learning just crazy amounts of techniques and different ways to handle things that I think is a real advantage for somebody that's fairly new at it, that's trying to grasp hold of these different ways to do things. So fantastic. Highly recommend if you can get in front of a cold read group, do it. Um, I have a whole bunch of current projects that I'm working on. I have a podcast. It's about disc golf. You can look that up if you want, the disc golf show. And I think I'm going to take that down a notch. And because I was doing this 3 camera thing and I think it's overkill and blah, 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 blah. So we're toning that down and that'll give me a little bit more free time too to do more of these videos. So into the future, what am I planning on doing on this channel and what will you see coming very soon? More tutorials. I recently picked up Studio One and I now have it set up in a way that I understand the software and I know how to record in it. And I'll be sharing some tips for you there. I think it's actually a fantastic piece of software. If you're looking for an alternative from, let's say, Adobe Audition, and you want to get out of the whole Adobe atmosphere because of, some things that the company has done, Studio One might be a good alternative for you. But there's also Audacity, which is free, and Reaper, which is a one-time payment thing, just like Studio One that you could do. Studio One does have a couple different flavors, but they have a just buy it once kind of deal, just like Reaper does. So I'll kind of keep those tutorials going for you guys and let me know what you want to see, and I'll make sure that I get those out there. I'm also thinking about doing more specific things related to when I do an audition for an audio drama, showing you that audition, putting the lines together, the editing process, and then also audiobooks. How do I go through and edit audiobooks? I've learned quite a few things about doing audiobook editing, and through my current project that I'm doing, which is a super long 30-hour science fiction book, a space opera, if you will. And I have made tons of mistakes that I have immediately learned from. And I think I could save you guys some time if you find yourself in that similar boat. I've learned a lot of things that can really speed up your workflow. So I definitely think I'm going to be making some videos on that. And then I'm thinking about maybe jumping into doing maybe some live streams, maybe just here on YouTube or maybe Twitch or, whatever platform seems to be more applicable. I've been thinking about maybe doing some TikToks. I don't really know a lot about that platform, but I know a lot of narrators do some live narration on there. And maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe start reaching out to some authors and just offering to do like a chapter, their first chapter of their book, just so they can hear what an audiobook of their book might sound like. And maybe that'll be fun to kind of jump in together and do that. Just do some reads for people. That would be super fun. And it'll give us a chance to kind of experience more material outside of an environment that is really pressured by the back of like, this is a professional product. I have to produce it. There's money on the line here. This is just all for experience and fun. And so that they can hear a cool product and see what their book might sound like as an audiobook. And now maybe that'll encourage them to go out and get someone to do it. Doesn't necessarily even have to be me. They can reach out and find a narrator and turn their piece of work into an audiobook. I've also recently joined a Discord channel that the lady that runs it has a really interesting thing that she does for the community, that it's basically you're volunteering to read articles and I think books and things for people that are visually impaired. And it's all kind of volunteer process. And I think I might dive into that. And if maybe that's something that I'll talk to her first, obviously, but maybe that's something that I could stream and bring more awareness to and interest in. Because not only it gives me practice, but it's also a way to give back. And I'd much rather do that for a good cause, right? Versus some other things that I could be doing, right? I'd really like to maybe jump into that a little bit. So I'll develop that a little bit more and I'll get back to you and keep you guys up to date on it. And maybe I'll throw out some more vlog style videos too of just where I'm at, what I'm going through, and the things that maybe I've come to learn or maybe had some breakthroughs or some things that I've discovered, and keep you guys up to date. So there's going to be a lot more that's coming to this channel and that I'm going to be bringing to you very soon. So I'm super excited about it. I've rambled on here for quite a while, so I'll let you guys go and get back to whatever it was that you guys are doing before I took a 15-minute chunk or so out of your day. And if you have anything that you're recording, Let's make sure that we're getting out there, we're doing those projects, giving it our best. And at the end of the day, let's just get to it.